So I'm going to show you how to create a simple batik using a clear glaze, or in this case, we're going to use Sargent's lamination glue. You can also use Mod Podge or any clear glaze, um, and chalk pastels. This example I'm showing right now is done on rice paper. It's very fragile but very beautiful. But you can also do this using a primed canvas, which is what we're going to do today. So you start with your canvas, and you can paint onto the canvas using um, a pretty thin brush, and you want to paint the lines of whatever image you're going to paint for your batik. So today I'm going to paint a butterfly. Um, so you just paint like thin lines, kind of a thick coat of the batik, um, and you brush them in carefully into whatever shape you want. You can pre-draw if you want, but I didn't want my pencil lines to show through the um, glaze, so I'm just kind of winging it and painting a simple butterfly. So you'd continue painting um, pretty thickly, um, but if you want thin lines, you would use a thinner brush, but you want the lines thick enough so that the chalk pastel won't penetrate through the lines, because these are going to create those resist lines that you get from a batik. So I'm going to continue painting my butterfly lines. You can kind of have fun with it, make them symmetrical, um, add different lines and shapes to create patterns on his wings, and just continue painting those lines until you've got your image on there. And so I'm going to jump ahead to one that I've already done and has dried. Once you've painted your image on there, you want to let it dry. It would probably dry in an hour or so, but just to be safe, I would wait just overnight so that you have those nice, hard, shiny lines of glaze. Then the next step is coloring. So you use the chalk pastels, and you just color it any way that you like. Um, Coloring inside the lines, I'm going to start with the body, and you can color right over the glaze, um, and it won't penetrate the glaze. It'll cover it up at first, but we'll take care of that on the last step. You can color it any way you want. The fun thing about the chalk pastels is you can come back and layer colors and to create shading and give it more dimension. Um, Give my butterfly maybe a black head here. You can use your fingers to kind of rub it in there. Maybe add a little bit of shading along the sides. Batik doesn't have to be very detailed. The beauty comes from the resist itself, but you can add some of that shading to it if you want to. Some shading, some highlights. The same techniques you would use with the chalk pastels. Then you can, let's give my butterfly some pretty pink wings. Um, so color the wings here, and I added some little polka dots on here to give it just a little bit of texture to it. And do this side the same way. And coloring in as much as you can. Again, you can smooth it out with your finger if you want. We're also going to come back with a dry rag and add some of that too. I'm going to use a lighter pink for my bottom wings. It's okay if some of the color travels into the other spaces, because that makes it look even more like batik, because the batik, a lot of times the dyes will travel a little bit into other spaces and just add a little bit of color to that. So to me it kind of adds to it, makes it look even more like a real batik. So coloring here with the chalk. And again, you can come in and add some shades or different colors if you want to. Maybe add a little bit of purple in here. You could even add some different lines with your chalk if you want to. I'm not going to get too fancy here, but okay. And then you want to come back and add color to the whole outside the same way. So even really color it in like an old naked crayon. Just do a crayon rubbing there to do it quickly. Use the corner when I get around these little corners of my butterfly. Now right now it looks kind of messy, but we're going to take care of that in a few minutes, and it'll be amazing how beautiful it can be. You can do almost anything. Ocean animals, fish would look kind of pretty on this. You could use flowers. Even just a fun abstract design would work. Okay, so I've got it all colored in. This top I'm not too worried about because I'm going to fold that over to hang it. And then the last thing you want to do is get a soft cloth or paper towel. So I like to start from the inside with this and just kind of use the cloth or paper towel to kind of rub the oil pastel into the fabric, do a little bit of blending. And then when I switch colors, I'll switch the side of the paper towel or cloth that I'm using. And you can see it starting to blend into the cloth. It does lighten up a little bit, so it works, I think, best if you use pretty bright colors when you're doing this. Get the wings up here. And again, it's okay if you kind of get into the other colors a little bit. Really rubbing it in. Get the head up here. And then kind of, now if you don't want some of those colors to mix, you can just tap some of that off. You can already see it's starting to look beautiful. And then there's a ridge here in my fabric that's kind of showing up. And any place where you've got the glaze or the lamination glue or Mod Podge, whichever you choose to use, is going to kind of resist the chalk. And then you can gently brush it off of the rest. Give it a little tap. You can also moisten your rag a little bit. I like to come back and kind of deliberately rub on the glossy areas to make them nice and clear and clean. And then I still have a little bit of cleaning up to do, but you just finish cleaning up, wiping it down. You can use a slightly damp rag to get some of the places where there's still color in there. And there you have it, your beautiful, simple batik using glue. And then here's another look at the flower that I did earlier on rice paper. So it has that nice transparent look. Okay, so have fun and create some beautiful art.